Hello friends, welcome to my channel Fusion Next Gen Learning. If you are first time viewer on the channel, subscribe my channel and hit the bell icon to get latest updates from Fusion Next Gen Learning. In today's demonstration, I am going to cover one more business requirement: how to achieve electronic signature with DocuSign in Oracle Fusion Procurement. First, we'll see the demo, and after that, we will cover all the required setups. So let's start. So procurement, within the procurement, I will click on the purchase order. So first we have to create the purchase order. Within the purchase order, you have to click on the task. Within the task, you have to click on the create order. Once you click on the create order, you have to type your supplier. So let me type my supplier name. I will click on the create. Once I click on the create, what I have to do, I have to enable required signature. This checkbox you have to enable if you want that electronic signature will go through via DocuSign. So you have to enable this checkbox. After that, I will enter my item detail. So let me enter my item detail. So I will enter my item. So I have selected my item detail. And after that, what I'll do, I will just enter the quantity. So I've entered the quantity detail. I will just put the requested date and the promised date. Let me put the promised date. Once I have done the setup, once I have entered all the detail, I have to click on submit. Once you submit the purchase order for the approval, you have to go to the again manage purchase order, and you have to send your purchase order for the signature. So let me go through again the purchase order, and we'll click on the refresh. So first status is pending for approval, and it will move to now our purchase order is ready for the pending signature preparation. Once the status move to pending signature preparation, you have to send this document for the signing to the supplier or maybe your authorized person internally. So both can sign the document, and after that only this document will be eligible or valid for the procurement or for the supplier. So to send the document via DocuSign, you have to click on the actions. And once you click on the actions, you have the options called prepare for signature. Prepare for signature, once you click, it will open the DocuSign UI within the Oracle Fusion application. You don't need to log in outside the application, and you will see the purchase order detail within the UI. Now, if you want, we add additional recipients that you can add. So I will click on the drop down, selected the edit recipients, and within that, so first user is added. I don't want this particular user to be signed this document. You can delete that also. And if let's take an example, this particular user is authorized signatory, internal approver for the purchase order, and I want this document to be signed by the supplier. So I have added the supplier detail. Within that, what all options you have? You have the set signing order. So you can also set the signing order. Let's take an example. First, you want supplier to approve. You can change the order to one. And after that, you want your internal authorized signatory to approve or sign the document. Then you can change the sequence from 1 to 2 so that it will go first sign for the supplier and second sign for the authorized signature. So you can change the set signing order from this. And if you click on the view, from the view option, you can see that how the flow. So sender is the user, and from that it will go for the supplier approval, and then after that it will go to the signing authorities, and then you can see that completed. Now, if you see need needs to sign in the drop down, you have an option needs to sign means you are restricting, you are asking that particular authorized person to sign the document. If you set as an in-person signer, then they have to sign the physical document. You want that particular recipients or the user or the requester it just receives a copy, then you can just set as a receives a copy. So it won't ask any signature for that. And if you want, any person can view that particular signed contract or the purchase order, then you can just click or select the needs to view. So these are the controls available. Then the customization. So what is customized option is available. So you can add the private message for that particular recipients or the authorized person. You can add the access code. So once you enter the access code, that access code used by the supplier or the recipients can open the document and can access, and they know only these access code. You can delete also. So those options also available. You can add as many as recipients, and based on that, you can give them the privilege what person can do what kind of activity for that particular contract. Now, once you add it, after that, you have to click on decide. So I've added two recipients. Now, where they have to sign. So if you see, there are many attributes available. So first, I will click on the signature. So this signature is required for the authorized person. Now I want another signature because I have added the two recipients within the document. Now this sign will belongs to the supplier. Same way you can enter so that the signature will be there on the document. You can put the stamps also. You can put the date signed also. So you can just drag and drop so that the particular signing date will be printed to the document. If you want the email ID, the company, the title, so all these attributes are available. So based on your need, you can just enter that. So these are the standard fields available. Now, if you see in the actions, so in the action section, so let's take example, you don't want it to be sent now. You can just click on the save and close. These details will be saved, and you can later point of time, you can just again go to the prepare for signature and you can just click on the send button. Let's take an example. I want this document to be sent right now so that if you want any message to be added, you can add. Recipients also you can add. Added the document and the advanced options. In the advanced options, what features you have it? Recipient's privilege. So allow recipient to sign on paper. Allow recipient to change signing responsibility or assign a delegate signer. So let's take an example. I am as a authorized person, but I'm not available. So I can assign or delegate my responsibility for signing the contract or the document. So Y person, that also you can do that. Now you have the reminders. So send reminders. So once you enable this, you can see that number of days before sending first reminder. So those days you can enter. Number of days between reminders. So those days, let's say 1 week, 2 week, within the 3 days, 4 days, and the expiration also you can enter. So you can enter number of days in which to warn signers before expiration. So all these dates or the reminder you can enter. So accordingly, it will be notified or reminded to the supplier as well as the authorized signatory. Now, mobile friendly viewing with responsive signing. So this flag has to be enabled. So within the mobile application also, they can see the document and enable the comment. So comments also they can enter. So this is what we understand related to the standard fields, the actions, the advanced options. Now after that, I am ready and I am good to go this document to send to my supplier and the authorized signatory. So I will click on the send. Once I click on the send, this document will be sent for the signing. So thank you for signing with Oracle Contracts. So this message you will see whenever you are saving and closing in draft status this document, or you are sending the document, you will receive this message. You just click on the done. Now you will see that the purchase order status will change from pending signature preparation to the send. So I'll click on the refresh. Let me refresh it. Now you can see that the status changed to sent for signature. And within the actions, if you click, you will see that manage signature. So once you click on the manage signature, you will see that the document. So let's take example. I am the authorized person. I can continue and please review and act on this document. So please review the document below. Let's click on the continue. These are the document you are reviewing. You have to sign. So if you see that, if you notice that the date is coming automatically. So today I am signing. Once I click on that, so if you see that sign, so my sign is already up here and I will click on the finish. Once I click on the finish, you are done with the signing and you can click on the continue. So I have done with the signing. I will click on the done. So I have signed the document. Now, as a supplier, I receive the document. So if you refresh, so signed purchase order. So I receive that notification over the email. So I will receive this kind of document. scm.mp, please DocuSign. Thank you. Fusion Nexen. So I receive over my email. If you see that about the DocuSign, do not share this email. So these all are the within the document, the email notification I am getting. So I will just click on the review document. It will open the document and I will see that the authorized person has signed the document. Now I will just simply click on close. So I reviewed the document that, okay, the first party has signed that contract. Now I have to sign the document. So to sign the document, if I click again, review document, and within the review document, if you see the actions, other actions, you have void, correct. So we'll see that void and the correct. So at any point of time, if you want that this document is has to be corrected as a authorized signatory, you can just click on the correct. So once you correct, it will go into the previous status and again you can resubmit and start again preparation for the signature. If you void that document, then this document will be invalid and your status will go as a rejected. If you want any history, you can view the history also. So those things you can see from the DocuSign when you receive the notifications. So let's go back to the document. You will receive this kind of, the email over your email ID, valid email ID. So once I click on as a supplier, so I have to click on the continue. And within the continue, if I observe that as a supplier, I have to sign this document. So first person has already signed, I reviewed, and after that I have received the email to sign the document. So I have to simply click. And once I click, you will see that I have signed this document the same date and as a supplier, and I will click on the finish. Once I click on the finish, I will say continue. So I have signed the document, and these documents signed by the both parties. So two-person has signed the document. Now this document will be eligible. Now the sent for signature will move to open status since it's approved by the both parties. So both recipients have signed the document. Now these documents will be authorized and ready for the supply. So goods can be supplied by the supplier now, and this contractual agreement, or you can say the purchase order signed by the parties. So I will click on the refresh, and you will notice the status will become open. So if any parties void the document or rejected that particular document from the signing, the document status will be invalid and rejected. And again, those corrections, those action has to be taken and then re-trigger for the submission. If I click on the view PDF, if I open that document, and if you notice that's both the signs automatically associated to the purchasing document, automatically you don't need to do any integration or any technical stuff. There are few setups has to be done. So we'll talk about those setups. You want the change order. So let's take example. If I click on the added, I will click on yes. So I can send those change order for the signing. So if you see that the flag is already enabled and sending change, and simply I am making this to two quantity and submitting for the approval, and I'll refresh now to check. So we'll click here. Let me click on the changes. A change order is pending. So let's click there. So we are at the change order. Now we can see that the change order is, the status is into pending signature preparation. So we'll go ahead into actions and again click on the prepare for signature. And once I click on the prepare for signature, so let's wait. So if you see that, again it will open and we'll review the order detail. If I have to add both the signing parties, I can add the signing parties. Or if I have to any advance options, any recipients, so anything I have to add, those things I can do. So let's take example. This time I don't want any other parties to be added. So I want this change order to be internally approved. So I'm just entering one detail, and after that I will simply click on the send. So this is based on the business, whether both parties, single parties, internal authorized person can sign the document, that will be valid. So based on the requirement, you can associate and you can send those documents, click on done. And once done, will refresh and again come back to the change order. So let's refresh. So if you see that the status move to sent for signature. So we'll again go back to the change order. And once I'll click on the, so I can see that the sent for the signature, I will click on the actions and from the manage signatures. And from the manage signatures, I can see the document. I will click on continue and I will just sign and I will just finish the document. If I have to void, I can void. If I have to, send it for the correction, I can click on the correct. So those things you can do. And now you can see that the change order is also eligible and open and effective. If let's take an example, if you want the history from the you can view the document history. So if you see that the change order one, submit request for the signature, it's submitted, request for the signature, implemented. And if you click on the request signature, then you will see the signature history related to that particular document. So what is the document number, who is the recipients, when it was completed, entire detail you can review from the signature history. And if I click on the original document, so original document also, we can see that all the historical. So registered, sent invitation, open, view, signed, open, view, signed, view, printable copy attached to email, printable copy delivered. So if you see, so entire activity history you can view, and this is what the envelope detail that you can see that within the signature history. You can print for your documentation purpose that when who has signed if required, that also you can do from this document history. You can review all the signature history. So this is what we have completed the demo part. Now after that we'll cover the required setups. So the required setups, first what you have to do, you have to go to the setup and maintenance. And within the setup and maintenance, you have to go to the procurement, and within the procurement, you have to opt the feature. So once you click on the change feature opt-in, where you have to simply go to the procurement contracts. Within the procurement contract, you have to click on the features. Once you click on the feature, so you have to enable electronic signature for procurement documents. So this feature you have to enable. So that is our first step. And after that, you have to go to the task where you have to configure the DocuSign setups. So I'll walk you through. Before that, to have the DocuSign integration within the Oracle Fusion Procurement, you need DocuSign license. That is the prerequisite for that. For the development, you can register with your email ID and you can use DocuSign for 30 days as a trial. You can do testing. Once you are ready and you are fine with the solution, then you can go ahead with the production licenses. I'll walk you through what all profile options are required to be set up. Second thing is that your email ID, your admin email ID has to be set up correctly for the DocuSign. And to have the integration, your DocuSign admin will register you and give you the role so that you can access. So when they are registering, so what you have to make sure. So if I go through the tools and security console, within the security console, if I click on the users, so let me click on the users and I will type with the email. It's an exchange learning. And if I type, so if you see that this is the email ID. So this email ID must be registered within the DocuSign. Then only you will be able to access the DocuSign within your login itself. Otherwise, you won't be able to access the application. Now, after that, what you have to do? So I'll go back to the setup and maintenance. Within the setup and maintenance, you have to have the task. So first we'll talk about. So let me just walk you through. So let me walk you through. So electronic signature of procurement documents with DocuSign. So what all capabilities having with this feature you can achieve. So buyers can send purchasing documents for electronic signature. You can track signature, packet creation, and signature capture using new document status. Says the purchasing document moves to open status when all signatures have been completed in DocuSign. So the status has to be complete in the DocuSign, then only the purchase order will become as an open. You can track signature packet history using the DocuSign. So within the DocuSign, your DocuSign administrator can review all the historical data, how many documents back and forth been signed so far, and they can see all those details within the DocuSign itself. Now coming to the setup part. So as we discussed about the enable the offerings, so we have discussed that. So you have to enable the within the procurement contracts. You have to enable electronic signature for procurement documents. Now DocuSign setups. So you have to configure the manage electronic signature where you have to use the solution provider, which solution provider you would like to use. Then you have to enter your username and password. So what username and password? So this username and password is your DocuSign administrator username and password that you have to use. Once you done that, then account ID and endpoint URL. So where from you can get all those details. So I'll walk you through. Now supported job roles. So supported job roles are buyer, the category manager, supplier, requester, and then procurement application administrator. So these job roles are supported to use the functionality. Now there is a one ESS job available refresh document signature status. So you can schedule this ESS job in every 30 minutes so that it will refresh the document signature status. So this schedule process review the status of all in process signature packets for document requiring signature. Use this process when you want to update the status of your document in the application. This job should be scheduled only if the enable electronic signature for procurement documents feature is enabled. So this ESS job can only be scheduled when you are opting this particular feature. So those prerequisite you have to keep in your mind. Now the required profile options. So we'll talk about the couple of profile options. So Aura per checklist differ DocuSign creation. So that you have to set as a site label as a yes. So it will be allow document to be signed in DocuSign until the time the performer initiates the DocuSign journey task. So it will defer the creation of the document. Now Aura per checklist use auth in DocuSign. So profile option, you only need to enter the user ID provided by DocuSign instead of the username and the password. If you have not enabled this profile option, note down and enter the username and password from the DocuSign. So if you are not enabling this profile option, then you have to take your DocuSign admin username and password and you have to keep enter. Otherwise, if you have those user ID, and you enable this profile option, then you can use the auth feature from the DocuSign and you enable the Oracle procurement. Now, coming to the Aura per checklist, use production auth DocuSign. So when you are ready, you have tested, you have taken a license from the DocuSign and you are ready to move your code or your configurations to the production environment, you can enable this feature to use production environment. And this is the one-time activity. OKC DocuSign auth disabled. So let's take an example. If you are not using the auth feature, then for the DocuSign, then you can disable the auth via this profile option. Now, which task you have to configure? So configure electronic signature for procurement document. So once you enable the feature or you have opted the feature, then you can go to the configure electronic signature for procurement documents. I'll walk you through that what exactly we have to take to configure this task from the DocuSign. Once you logged in and taken another development access from the DocuSign. So let's talk about the configure procurement. So let's talk about configure procure percent. So let's take a, yeah. So configure electronic signature for procurement document. So that is the task name. So let's click there. Now, if you see solution provider currently supporting the feature DocuSign and the one span. So we are using the DocuSign as a solution provider. Now, as a admin, I have entered my username and the password. So you have to enter the password and then account ID. So where from you have to take the account ID? So if you have taken the development, then you have to go to the settings. Within the settings, you have these two values available. So let's wait. So I have taken a development access from the DocuSign. So let it be open. So if you come down, you see that apps and keys. So you have to come to integration and within the integration, you will see apps and keys. Once you click there, API account ID and account base URL. So account ID. So you have to take API account ID directly, copy and paste it to the account ID and endpoint URL will be your account base URL. So that you have to copy and paste it to the endpoint URL and the username, the password, as I mentioned, a confirm password, you have to enter your DocuSign. So from the DocuSign, you logged in. So at the time of initial, whatever the password you have entered for your login, the same username and password you have to enter over here. And after that, you have to save the record and you have to validate. You make sure your validation status must be complete before you use the DocuSign integration with the procurement. So that you have to make sure that you have done until you have validated or this validation status is complete, you won't be able to use this feature. And as I mentioned, the both has to be same the email ID. So my DocuSign email ID, since I'm using my email ID as a developer account for the procurement, so I'm able to access. So you can see that. And if you click on the home, you can see that 4 documents till now we have completed. How many pending? So you can see all the status. So as an administrator, they can view all the detail. When, what time, 15 minutes ago, 29 minutes ago, download the document. So these things they can view. So if I click there you can see that the envelope ID, and these are the document. So as an administrator, I can see all those details. Then, again, if you want that copy to forward it to the some party, that you can do from the DocuSign itself. You can copy, save the template, history, transfer ownership, export into CSV. So all these things you can print, also document. So these are the DocuSign and you can achieve. So this is all about the DocuSign, how you can configure and validate all the points and use the feature. This is how you can achieve this kind of requirement in Oracle Fusion Procurement for the DocuSign. Thank you. Thank you for watching my channel, Fusion Next Gen Learning. Keep subscribing, keep watching. Happy learning.